a new moon in Aquarius, January 29th. Back to the future. Hello, my name is Eliane Nicole. I'm your astrologer and tarot reader, and in this video, I'm going to talk about the new moon of Aquarius 2025 and what it means for the entire lunar cycle, taking us from from January 29th all the way to February 27th. But first I want to say, if you are watching this on Instagram, I'm just going to post the first 3 minutes here. The entire video will be available on my YouTube channel, Eliane Nicole. My YouTube channel is my name, Eliane Nicole. Please find me there. If you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Please hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. Please like, please comment, please share. It helps me in the algorithm and to grow my business and my community and my channel, and it puts me in a position to continue to give these free astrological offerings. If you're watching this on Instagram, please make sure that you are following astrology.tarot.Eliane Nicole. Please like, please comment, please share. It's free for you and very helpful to me. And now, without further ado, I am going to translate the meaning of this year's new moon in Aquarius, which, by the way, also coincides with the Chinese New Year. So happy New Year of the snake. It's the year of the snake. So all you snakes out there, this is your year. It's the year of the wooden snake too, because in the Chinese philosophy, every 12 years, the animal shifts to a different animal, and every 5 years, the element shifts to a different element. So even though there are snakes every 12 years, it's a snake year, the wooden snake year, I believe, that takes 60 years, so that hasn't happened since 1965. So if you were born in 65, you are a wooden snake, and this is an extra special year for you. Anyway, but I'm a Western tropical astrologer, so I'm going to stick more to my kind of astrology. Although I think it's interesting how the Chinese New Year animals switch every 12 years, and in Western tropical astrology, that roughly corresponds to your Jupiter placement. And Jupiter being the planet of grace and good fortune and abundance, I think it's interesting that in the Chinese tradition, when it returns to your year, you know, that's your year of good luck. And in astrology, when you have your Jupiter return, that's also a year that tends to be very fortunate. And so, which brings me to the fact that in this new moon is trine Jupiter, the great benefic, who is currently retrograde in Gemini, so in another air sign. And I want to talk a bit about what that means. I think that's very fortunate, and it really makes me like this new moon cycle. I think that this cycle offers hope in darkness. I think that it offers a flicker of light within the darkness, a lot of darkness going on in the world right now. New moons are always seed planting moments, and we are planting those seeds whether we realize it or not. So we might as well do it with some intention. A lot of people are going through the new moon without any sense of their relationship to nature, and you can be planting bad seeds inadvertently that will also grow in your life. So it's better to have some awareness. And the sign Aquarius is so much about the higher mind and higher planes of thought and consciousness. And so it really is a time to be so aware of how we're thinking, what we're thinking, and how our thoughts and our ideas and our consciousness shapes and creates our reality. Aquarius is so much about the blueprint of the future, zooming out in a detached way and observing things from a non-emotional point of view. And I think that that is so important right now. I mean, I know for one that I'm in Los Angeles, a city that has gone through a lot of heartbreak and pain already as this year has begun, with terrible fires that burned down so much of the city. And then in America in general, you know, there's been an election that's causing a lot of people a lot of grief and pain, and right now is like such an important time. I mean, yes, there's a time and a place for feeling our pain and for mourning our pain, and we should always do that. And the grieving process is different for different people, and no one should ever deny themselves that. But at the same time, this Aquarius new moon is inviting us to zoom out and look at things from the bird's eye view and to create an ideal for the future so that we can get there. And yeah, the blueprint. It's so much about the blueprint. And this Aquarius new moon, the day before the new moon, which is the day that I'm recording this on Tuesday, the 28th, Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, goes into pre-shadow, and she's in Pisces, which is her exaltation. And so there are a lot of things in the realm of love and art and beauty, pleasure, attraction, even money, that are happening now around this new moon that will be revisited again, because Venus will be coming back to this point. So that's just something. Venus went into pre-shadow in the dark of the moon. So, you know, in the dark of the moon, we can't see what's happening, but it's going to come to light later when she returns. So that's just one thing to keep in your back pocket when Venus returns to 24 degrees at the end of her retrograde. And I'll do another video about that later because I don't want to get too much into that. I want to stay focused more on the new moon, but just make a note of it and be sure to stay tuned for the Venus retrograde video. But another thing that's happening is that Mercury, the planet of our intellect, who just entered Aquarius on Monday or on January 27th, is conjoining Pluto, god of the underworld. In the dark of the moon, behind closed doors, Mercury, the planetary messenger, and Pluto, god of the underworld, are joining. They're getting together. They're in conversation. They're doing a deal. Something is happening, again, in the dark of the moon, which I do expect to come to light. And this Mercury-Pluto conjunction ends up still being very present in the new moon chart. And so, again, this has so much to do with a lot of, I think, fear and grief that people are experiencing. That is kind of the lower vibration of a Mercury-Pluto conjunction, because Mercury is the mind and Pluto is our fears and what's beneath our deepest subconscious. And, you know, sometimes it can bring up secrets. It can bring up things that have been previously in the shadows or buried underneath everything coming up. At the same time, it can be just a very probing and penetrating mind trying to seek and get to the bottom of a truth. If you're talking about someone who's a journalist or a writer or something like that, because Mercury rules all of that too. Mercury can be the accountant, so it can be, you know, Aquarius has so much to do with digital currency and cryptocurrency and the future of where finance is going. And so there can be a lot of thought about that and a lot of talk about that during this time. Pluto has to do with extreme wealth, as aside from being, you know, the underworld figures, the depths of what's beneath the surface. It also has to do with, it can have to do with plutocrats and billionaires and the extremely wealthy. So Mercury conjoining Pluto is going to present in different ways on the collective than it does in our personal lives. But for the collective, there's definitely a sense of the relationship between the media and the plutocrats that is really big during this cycle. You know, we're going to be seeing some journalists and some media doing deep probing investigations around technology, cryptocurrency, robots, progressive, the plans for the future. Like all of these things are like really big during this cycle. And not only this cycle, but like this cycle is also looking forward to the 19-year trajectory of this Pluto and Aquarius era. This is the first time Mercury and Pluto are meeting since Pluto's moved in for keeps. You know, they met, I think, in early 2024 when Pluto was just dipping his toes in at 0 degrees. And I think that they exchanged some messages about what was coming. But now it's like we're in it and it's time to really like talk about this. How are we moving forward? It's time to think about it and talk about it because we are fully immersed in it now. You know, I mean, this Pluto and Aquarius era has been slowly building for us really since 2020. I mean, at the end of 2020, Saturn and Jupiter formed the Great Conjunction at 0 degrees Aquarius, beginning a new 200-year cycle for humanity, a new 200-year air cycle. We had been in an 800-year earth cycle. So there's like, you know, all of this earth to air stuff that's going on right now. And you can really see that in the world that we're living in. We're going from, you know, real life, tangible experiences to this very, you know, way of living in the ether and online and digitally. And whether we like it or not, this is what's happening in the future. I mean, at the same time, it is important to have grounded experiences where we can, but we can't resist where the future is going either. And we have to learn to be a part of it. And so Mercury in Aquarius conjunct Pluto in Aquarius, there's a lot to learn about this new era that we are entering. But this is all like the dark of the moon, you know, at the new moon. This new moon is actually trine Jupiter. Jupiter is the great benefic. Jupiter is the bringer of blessings and good fortune. Jupiter expands and magnifies. And again, this is Aquarius moon and Jupiter in Gemini. So this is about thoughts, ideas, conversations, thinking out of the box, big plans, big ideas, progressive ideas, innovative, original ideas. You know, Aquarius is very scientific. Aquarius is very technological. Aquarius is about humanitarian ideals. Aquarius is about the future. And so all of this is on the table right now. It's a great time to think big and to, you know, I think that there's going to be a lot of ideas that are coming up from people who are using their higher mind to create innovative, like solutions and just using the technology and everything that's coming down the pike in ways, in really creative, innovative ways that will benefit humanity, that will benefit the whole, that will benefit communities, because Aquarius is really about that as well. What's best for the whole? What's best for the community? What's best for the group or the collective? And, you know, I think that there are a lot of brilliant minds out there being activated right now with really innovative, original solutions to old problems that will be able to be approached and resolved in different ways with the new technology and the new ways of living in the world that are at hand. A lot of people tend to be fearful of the future and where things are going. That's that Mercury conjunct Pluto piece. Everyone's like, oh, the world is changing and, you know, I want things to be the way that they used to be. And, this is all so bad and so scary and things are falling apart, but there are also a lot of opportunities for a lot of wonderful things to come that are going to make living easier and healthier. And, you know, there are some progressive new inventions that will greatly benefit humanity in the realms of education and health and transportation and banking and just really every aspect of the culture. And I'm not saying that there's not a shadow side. Of course there is. There's always a shadow. Life on planet Earth since the beginning of time has been about the battle between dark and light. That's always going to be there, you know. But it's up to us which side of the spectrum, where on the spectrum we want to tune in and exist, you know. Do you want to be in the darkness or do you want to be in the light? You know, and what else did I want to say? I talked about the day before, the dark of the moon. Oh, another thing is that this moon is trine Chiron in Aries. And so there is an opportunity here for some healing to take place. This looks very mental in nature because, again, we're dealing with Aquarius. So this is a good time for, you know, therapy. It's a good time for, there's an opportunity to heal if you are willing to, you know, reach out for it. Sextiles are of the nature of Venus. So they're not like trines, but they present an opportunity. And there's definitely an opportunity for healing in the mental space, mental health, if you reach out to a therapist, a support group, you know, great understanding friends that you feel good talking to. I don't know, but this is healing the mind is possible in this lunation cycle. And then there's another aspect that's happening, that the asteroid goddess Pallas Athene is trine Uranus, the great shaker upper, Prometheus. And so I think that there is an opportunity to strategize around Uranian topics, strategize surprises, strategize or plan around, you know, banking and finance. That can be Taurus. Around food, art, sensuality, all of that can be Taurian stuff. You know, as this new moon happens, Uranus is about to station to go direct, which I think I should do a whole video about that. That's happening on the 30th. I think that's going to bring some shakeups and surprises in the financial sector around money, banking, food as well. You know, all the Taurian kind of themes, style, comforts, luxuries, but we might be, you know, experiencing some pre-trimmers around the new moon for what's going to shake up in a much bigger way the next day or at the end of the week. And even though the moon trines Jupiter, then the sun will trine Jupiter as well. So there's a lot of like really lucky, big, auspicious energy this week. And within this lunar cycle, it's presenting a lot of opportunities for growth and expansion and learning and implementing new ideas that are going to be very beneficial to the group, to the community, to the world at large, to the whole. So, you know, don't let the news fool you. That Mercury conjunct Pluto piece, you know, Mercury is the media and it's conjunct Pluto. So Mercury is very focused on all of the fear, all of the grief, all of the criminals, all of the underworld Hades stuff that is going on in the world. And so if you're looking at that, that's going to look like it's all that's going on. But when I read the headlines of the cosmos, that is not all that's going on. We are also living in a time where there is a lot of very humanitarian innovation going on. And, you know, plans are also being seeded for the revolution. You know, that is also in this astrology. You know, do not forget that the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, we had the French Revolution, we had the American Revolution, we had the Haitian slave revolt. You know, all of these very big historical moments are coming to full circle. And Aquarius, amongst all the other things that I said about being the sign of, science and technology and space travel and all of that, it's also the sign, it's also very revolutionary energy. I have always said that even in my videos before Trump won the presidency, where I saw that he would win the presidency regardless of which side of the politics you're on or where you stand with it. This is something that I saw in the stars, and it all looks like everything that's happening now is an evolutionary push towards more progressive politics in the future. But as I've said before, and I'll say it again, Pluto comes in and demolishes and destroys before he rebuilds. And so we are in this period, in a sense, where there is this demolition happening of old ideas and old systems and old structures and old ways of living in the world. And it's been happening, it's really been happening since 2020. Or even some would argue since 2008, which was the beginning of the end of the old world. 2020 is just when it really came into like a visual focus for a lot of people, because a lot of people will just live like ostriches with their head in the sand until something directly affects them. And then things have to get so bad before people are willing to take a stand or put forth any real effort in being a part of what makes things better. And so, all of this is going on in this lunar cycle, in the Aquarian New Moon. I talked about in the dark of the moon, I talked about, this is a time to think out of the box. This is a time to think big. This is a time to set intentions for what you want your future to look like, and do it in terms of thinking about, the whole, what's best for the world, what's best for your community, what's best for your family. Like it's, Aquarius energy is about the collectives that we're a part of. And we're all a part of many different collectives ranging in size, from our family, which maybe is a smaller collective, to our neighborhood, which is a bigger collective, to, who we work with, or our classroom, which are also collectives. Our city is a collective. Our state is another collective. Our country is another collective. And so we're a part of all of these different collectives. And the Aquarius New Moon is encouraging us to plant seeds about how we can contribute to what's for the good and the benefit of our collective going into the future. And what is the future blueprint in these changing times? How are the collectives that we are a part of going to restructure to meet the changing times that we're living in? These, this Aquarian era that is so much about, AI and robots and technology and digital currency and living and shopping and educating and banking and doing everything online, dating, everything is online now. And we're going more and more in that direction. Humanoid robots are being developed, driverless cars, space travel, like all of these things that are happening, AI taking over all of these jobs. And so there's going to be a big turnover of jobs, but there's going to be new jobs in the new era. And what might that look like? What can we do in this era coming up that's like, and so all of these are the types of things that we can think about and write about and set intentions around at this Aquarius New Moon. This first Aquarius New Moon since Pluto has moved in Aquarius to stay. So this is an important new moon, really, again, igniting the next 19-20 year cycle, taking us until 2044. So if you also want to plant seeds in the house that Aquarius rules in your chart. That's different for different people depending on your rising sign. If you don't know what your rising sign is or where 10 degrees Aquarius is in your chart, which is the exact degree the new moon is forming, you can contact me for a reading. I read on Zoom, so I can read for people anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. I would love to read for you. I read in person for people in Los Angeles. Sometimes it's a slightly different rate for an in-person reading. But yeah, I guess I'll wrap it up here now because I've been talking for a while. But thank you so much for watching. And I think I will just do a tarot pull too, just to see what the cards may want to add to this conversation. And if you would like to buy me a coffee or a tea or make a donation to thank me for this reading, I will put my Venmo in the description below the reading on my YouTube. The Hermit. That reminds me, the Hermit. This is so much about like following our, getting quiet, getting in stillness, meditation, prayer, time alone, getting in touch with that inner GPS system, that inner guidance system. Our wisdom, our maturity. This makes me think of Saturn a lot. Saturn, who's in Pisces. Saturn, who is also the host of this new moon in Aquarius. And Saturn in Pisces, boundaries, but also dealing with, Saturn's host is Jupiter, who's in Gemini, who's trine the new moon. So I feel like all of these energies are working together to, deal with implement boundaries, emotional boundaries, but also, there's a melancholy to Saturn in Pisces, and it's strumming the chord of emotional maturity. It's been doing that since he's been traveling in Pisces. And the Hermit is actually the year card numerologically for the year 2025, because you add 2 + 2 + 5. And that is 2025. Yeah, 2 + 0 + 2 + 5 is 9. And that's the Hermit. And so I was going to do a video just on the Hermit. It's interesting that I pulled it now. But I don't know, I think I'm just going to stop there. I'm kind of like drawing a little bit of a blank, and I've been talking for 27 minutes. I will come back with a more full video on the Hermit. But in general, it is about getting in touch with our inner world. It's very noisy out there on social media and in the news, and everybody arguing about their different political points of views and all of that. And so it's so important to find that stillness and meditation and prayer and time alone to get inside, to get in touch with that inner guiding light. And so that's what I'll say about the Hermit coming up right now. And please, yes, do contact me for a reading. I would love to read for you. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a happy new moon in Aquarius. Plant beautiful seeds for the future. And stay tuned for more videos coming up.